Well, isn't it important to have a friend in the home buying and selling business? It can be a very complicated process. It's important to have somebody you can know and trust. We've got an expert here. Stay tuned, everybody. It's the Your Little Castle Show.
So you had the REO Speedwagon guy?
Yeah, we're having a little chit chat about some of the guests we've had on here. Yeah, Mike or Scorfino. What's his first name? Mr. Scorfino.
Yes, sir.
He was quite. We've had a few rather famous people on the Your Little Castle show, and we've got a couple of hidden opportunities to invite some other world famous people on the show. I recently just did along those lines. I did an interview with a quick short snippet with Chuck D. Public Enemy was just in town, and a friend of my guy, I didn't really know her very well. She recognized me as Cardinal Cowboy, and she said, "Hey, would you like to meet Chuck D?" After she shows me her badge, and she's like, "Come with us and follow us." And I said, "Well, text me," and then we went around and met. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun, cool people. The people I love talking to are the business owners, because they're the ones really making the difference on this little planet. So with that, well, we have a famous person sitting in the studio, as far as I'm concerned, right now. Check that out with Mr. Mike Lynn. He's the owner-founder of Revolve Homebuyer, RevolveHomebuyer.com, and you can see the website is up there behind us. But if you missed that first interview, everybody, you missed a lot of great information and a lot of things you should be knowledgeable about with regard to when you're going to buy or sell your home. Because these days there's a lot of revenue. Home equities have gone up. I look at what my house is worth now versus what it was when I bought it. It's almost doubled. Mm-hmm. And it's been a couple decades, but that's a pretty good jump if you look at it, considering. So here's an expert to talk about that. With that in mind, tell me, Michael, what is one of the biggest mistakes that the average homeowner makes when they're about to either buy a house or in particular sell a house because they had a family member die or an emergency in the family or something related that caused them to have to sell a house quickly?
Yeah. So this is going to sound weird, but the biggest one I see is people signing the highest offer they get. Typically, you're going to find a lot of investors are kind of clustered. A smaller guy like me, we're going to be a little bit ahead of them. But if you see somebody that's substantially further, that you had 3-4 offers, and it's 150, 160, 155, 157, and one guy's at 195, run for the hills. Because that's typically, as I mentioned in our previous conversation, those are the out-of-state investors that'll just get you to sign the contract, and that way they can control everything. The other things to make sure that people put in there are the things that protect you when you buy a house. Everybody's probably heard of earnest money, right? Like when you go to buy a house, you put X amount of earnest money down with the title company. It's no different for an investor, right? We should put earnest money down when we go to buy your house. Oftentimes, I'll see guys put no money in their contracts. I'll see them put $100. So they don't care if the contract goes sideways because it's $100, right? So make sure that you're getting substantial cash down, $2,000-$3,000 earnest money. Make them send you the receipt that it was actually sent to the title company. And then lastly is look for the inspection period. An inspection period, just like when you buy a house, is kind of your out if you find something wrong with the house. Well, in the investing world, what a lot of guys do, mainly those guys that give you really, really high offers, is they'll put in, let's say that we say we're going to close in 60 days. They will make their inspection period 60 days long. So they can back out up until the day of closing with nothing to come back on them, right? So, and that's where
watch out for that one. Wow.
That's where I see a lot of people get in trouble. And that's why I always offer, even if we don't do business, send me the agreement that you're going to sign and let me read over it so I make sure that there's none of that stuff that's going to get you in there. Because your average person, you're going to buy 1, 2, maybe 3 houses, maybe in your entire life. I did 41 transactions last year, in 1 year. So just make sure that you're working with somebody reputable and you're covering yourself with earnest money and inspection timelines.
There you go. Somebody has been through some of the hurdles and some of the some of the caveats there. You better understand what's going on there, because if you get taken in for one of these and 1 minute you're left holding the bag right before closing because you had an inspection period that went the whole time, that's kind of crazy to imagine that. But hey, they're writing the rules. My dad said always to me, who wrote the contract? So who do you think it is in favor of? Make sure that
Right.
this thing gets a review on both ends. And will you review somebody's contract? Are you allowed to do that if somebody?
100%.
And
Yeah, 100%. I again, as I talked about, I like helping people, you know, and if it results in that I get to buy a house, cool. And if it doesn't, knowing that I read a contract that probably kept somebody out of getting themselves in a pickle,
right.
just as good in my book.
Yeah, and it comes back around. The word spreads. Whatever you sow, you will reap 10 times. I think there's a book that talks about that. What do you like most about the St. Louis market and the people you deal with here? I understand people in this area are really nice compared to some of the people around the world. If you haven't been outside of St. Louis, I haven't been all over, but I hear from other guests periodically that have worked at other places. But you've been based in St. Louis all your career and enjoy the people you work here?
Yeah, we did do some attempts in other markets in Atlanta and Jacksonville, and they were just like you said. It's not the same client base.
Okay.
It is much warmer in terms of the people's mentality here.
Right.
But really, I mean, the thing that I like the most, and I don't even know if this is like necessarily to the St. Louis market, is just every situation's different. Like I'm never walking into back-to-backs of like this problem, this problem. It's the same problem. It's 10 different problems that need 10 different ways of solving it. And it's always nice to be able to just step in and help those people out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big decision for most anyone because you're dealing with a home that's going to be at least $220,000 and sometimes a lot more, and you don't want to put at risk losing all the equity, all of what you've earned over the years by having a bad investment in something that goes sideways because somebody wasn't paying attention to the details, and can cause a big problem. Tell me a time when you've had a client. You shared a good story with us with the first show, but give me a little more specific with somebody you could tell kind of got in a tough situation. I don't say necessarily taken advantage of, but you could tell things were not going to go well, and you had to step in and help
Yeah.
take an issue.
So actually dealing with one right now. We're gonna close on it next week. Lady calls, or we call this lady, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. She's in foreclosure. House is set to foreclose on August 4th. We're like 2 weeks out from this.
Wow.
And she's like, I've already signed with another investor, but I haven't heard from them. I'm like, okay, when did you sign this? 30 days ago. I'm like, 30 days? You haven't heard from them one time? She's like, no. She was in Festus.
Okay.
So I hop in I'm like, I'm leaving right now, coming from the Central West End. I'm going to drive down, and I'm going to meet you, and we're going to talk. And so I start reading her contract. 60-day close, 60-day inspection period, company based in Miami. Okay. The inspection period would have taken her past her foreclosure date.
Yeah.
So her house was going to foreclose on because this investor wanted to have low standards, we'll call it.
Right.
So I called the company and said, hey, look, dude, I know what you're doing. Either let her out of it or I'm going to call the Better Business Bureau. What do you want to do? He lets her out of it. I call the bank, get the foreclosure stopped the day before the foreclosure, and we got it moved out a month. We're going to be able to close on her house, put a little bit of cash in her pocket, and let her kind of get a fresh start.
Wow, that's a pretty good story right there. I mean, somebody who's just about to lose everything. The house, what was the house worth? 200,000, 300,000.
Yeah.
And they're just going to walk away from it. And people do that because they don't know what else to do. But boy, you came in and saved somebody's potential life with regard to their retirement savings and everything they've worked at. Pretty crazy. Good story. Tell me though, a challenge. There's lots of challenges of running business these days, but this space can be one of the most challenging. What is a challenge you've run into that was a lesson learned for you and made you stronger, better at what you do?
I should have brought my list.
Right.
Oh man, that's a great question. So, I mean, there's tons of different challenges, and like I said, no one situation is the same as the next. So it's almost you're learning a bit on the go of every time. But I've made mistakes where I didn't look at a sewer lateral that I was in a house I was going to buy, and
Okay.
it cost me $20,000 that I didn't account for.
Okay.
You know, so there's mistakes that are like that when you're looking into expecting the house, or, if you don't do your numbers ahead of time well, like if you don't know the market. And it's a good example. This is in Afton. You can go one street and it's Afton School District, and the next street and it's Lindbergh School District. And those home valuations are 30 grand difference for the exact same house because of the school district.
Okay.
If you're not local and you don't know that, you're going to make that mistake. Even if you are local, most people will make that mistake and they'll say, oh, this house that's on the other side of the road is just worth this much. I can make this offer. And then they come back and say, oh, I didn't realize it was in the school district. I actually can't offer you that much money.
I gotcha.
So there's those learning lessons just throughout time of things you don't know. And Unfortunately, they usually cost me a little bit of money, but it's like college tuition is the way I look at it.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, and I know the different locations and proximity to hospitals and the amenities, grocery stores, all of those things that people take into account. And when you've got somebody who understands the behind the scenes and that has all the data, you can make sure somebody makes that right decision.
Yep.
And you made the wrong decision one time.
One
You said,
time.
I'm not going to do that again.
First thing I look at when I go in a house.
Sewer lateral, everybody. I wouldn't even know what that was to talk about. Residential and commercial, but you're 100% you love the residential side. What do you like about residential so much?
Well, usually with residential, you're working with an individual. Commercial, it can be an individual because technically above 5 units is considered commercial, but most of the time you're dealing with a big business. And that's a big reason I got out of the car business is I worked for a big corporate conglomerate that owned 150 stores, and I don't like that. I don't want to deal with that, right? So I like the residential side because I get to sit knee to knee in a living room like this, have a conversation with somebody, get to know them, their story, what's going on, and let's figure it out.
Well said, yeah, because there's so much that goes into a residential purchase that makes it much more accommodating, something you really get to be closer to the family. Obviously, you're dealing with, instead of the big corporate stuff, you're dealing with an 800 number and somebody in a big office somewhere in another city. Yep. You're really impacting the community here and those that live here in our St. Louis area. No matter what part of town, there's a lot of wonderful people that reside there, and you get to help them. Is that what you enjoy, though, is helping residents to get into a house and also sell a house that really provides for their future financially too?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more fulfilling knowing, that story earlier about getting those people into a new home, coming out of this roach-infested house, and giving them and their family a fresh opportunity. And that lady called me weeks later and said her youngest one, she goes, she's a different person now. Like, she is so much happier to be around. And so it's not only do you get to impact those people in that moment, but in a lot of scenarios, you're touching their kids, their spouses, whatever that might be. Your ripples going way down the road. So to me, there's no better feeling than being able to do that.
Yeah, with the volume you're doing, which is a pretty good clip, but you get to work. You worked on every one of those 41 sales yourself last year, and you dealt with the families individually and worked through them. And I guess you got to see what was the range. You got people that were retirement. You got people that were looking for new homes. You got somebody switching homes in between. A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Again, a lot of tough situations, the probates, the foreclosures, inheritances, deaths, all that type of stuff. But then again, you get some people that are, I've told a gentleman before, hey, look, don't sell to me. Actually, the very first deal I ever did, I told the lady, do not sell to me. Your house is in too good of condition. Just put this on the market. She goes, Mike, I don't care. She was going to a senior community, her friend lived at. She goes, I just want to go to the senior community with Patty and drink wine. That's all I want to do. I don't care if I'm going to take less money. Okay. At least I told you what I thought you should do.
Right.
You make your own decision. But yeah, it ranges from, hey, I just have a dated house to, hey, my house is getting foreclosed on tomorrow. Can you help me out?
Yes, and nobody wants to go through that foreclosure process. If we've all been through tough situations financially and the market that's up and down, but at least get that equity out and find somebody that will do a saving emergency sale for somebody that come through and do that.
Yeah.
And the stress you're dealing with people is very high at times, but you're helping them. You're pulling. You can make those calls like you did to have that foreclosure extended.
Yes.
Those are the kinds of resources you know how to handle things in situations like that.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a big thing, because not everybody knows how to do that or what they need to do or what the process looks like. Even that particular lady, the bank told me, hey, no, you have to reinstate the loan right now for us to stop the foreclosure. And I said, no, I don't. You just flat out just lied to me because I've done this before. I don't need to do that. I've sent you my proof of funds. I've sent you the purchase agreement, and that is enough to stop the foreclosure. And they stopped it the next day. So, but yeah, that's, you need somebody that can just help guide you through the situation. And it's tons of different things, A lot of people go into senior communities, making sure that they're getting enough money out of their house so they can afford to live the rest of their life. There's just all kinds of stuff that we work with.
There you go. That's why you need an expert, everybody. Michael Flynn. I'm Lynn. Michael Flynn. We know the former military. Michael Lynn, though, will help you. Revolve Homebuyer. We buy houses in St. Louis. mow for cash, and it could help you salvage an issue like I've been through myself. If I have my mortgage license, I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but for many years, didn't renew it this year just because we haven't done enough work in that space. But just to understand this market and how you get through this, and you don't want to lose $20,000-$30,000 left on the table because you didn't do your research and get an expert that can pull some strings for you to make sure and get you through a tough situation. Financially, that has a big impact. Stay tuned, everybody. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Hey, everybody. Guess what? We get to have fun all the time at the Cardinal games. Before the game, we get to hang out with fun super fans. Say hello to my buddy Nino over here, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie. That's right. Everybody's in the video here. Family coming out to the game. Nino, what do you love about going to Cardinal games?
You love baseball?
Yeah. He loves baseball. Hey, all right. Scoring points with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Yeah, he plays Miracle League baseball.
Do you really?
And he likes to be on the Cardinals team at home.
Yeah.
Wow. Nino, how many times have you been on that team? How many times have you done that?
A lot.
That's a good answer. All right. Dad, what's it like coming to the Cardinal games with your son and your wife and all the fun you get to have down here?
Oh, it's the most fun. I mean, we've been coming since Old Bush. You know, now we've got New Bush Stadium. It's the best baseball town, and it's the most fun. You know, it's fun before the game. The games are always great, and we love it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time here. We're at Patios, everybody. This is where the most fun is. I get to wear the full outfit here. I got the pants, the socks, the arch, Nino, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie all here, and we're outside Patios having fun. Hey, say hi to Patios. Stop on by here before a Cardinal game, and we'll see you guys soon. Nino, give me some knuckles. There we go. Go Cardinals. Giddy up.
Sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Revolve was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. So we're hearing all the time now why people need to be on our show. And it's pretty obvious. These days, the stats are proven. If you're going to get people's attention, you've got to get them with video. Google loves video. YouTube, obviously, is where you put your videos. And it's just a no-brainer. The problem is, until we kind of put together this whole format, there's no other way to get this kind of quality for the cost we put together. Because I'm a computer nerd, because I figured out how to automate, systematize, we've systematized this. Mom and Dad made me go to computer classes just in case the professional baseball career didn't work out. And so we started off doing 1 show, then 2 shows, then 3 shows, and then we had to jump to 5 shows a week just to fill the demand, because here you get a professional video that looks dynamite, that'll let your business really showcase what they do, and you don't have to spend $10, $15, $20, $30,000 to do it. So if you'd like to be on the show, get a hold of us and understand these stats. When you're on a show like this, when you put this on your website, you're going to decrease your bounce rate by 34%. You're going to increase your close rate, your conversion rate, by up to 80%. We have clients tell us they get 25% more close deals because of the show. They track this. They can speak to that, and you're going to just get an overall boom for your business. You've got to do video. If you don't do it through us, do it somewhere. Do it yourself. Do it, but do it professionally. Don't make your business look worse. Make your business look better. This video can be used for up to 7 years. We have clients. We did an interview with them. 2020. It's 2026. They have made over $360,000 by using our video. They came back to do it again. So get a hold of us. Jump on here. Go to bigleagues.com. That's BIGG leagues.com. Or call us or text us right there, the phone number you see there. And we look forward to having you on our show. Stay tuned. Giddy up. And there you have it, everybody. Lots of fun. We and a good reason. We got a little promo in the middle of our own show to talk about the importance of getting on media out there, getting the content out there that people can learn from. If you're helping people, giving them good resources, good information, you're going to get business out of it. And expect nothing thereof. Help do something to help somebody, expecting nothing thereof. And you can see we've got a business owner here that essentially has done that many times. But pick up our book here. This is an Amazon #1 seller, Magnetized Media. Yours surely wrote the introduction. And they said Carter essentially wrote the first chapter. They maybe give me I use my professional photo from my mortgage days for that picture, but kind of neat. So with that, how has technology, you talked about you had your website up and ready to go before you were ready to launch the company. Social media, reviews, all these things have a big impact on the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we get countless people that call us because they Googled home buyers in St. Louis and saw us and read our reviews, you know, and called, and I'm, you know, usually I can track some way that they came in through we have paid advertising, and like, no, I just saw your Google reviews, and really even moving into, you know, there's SEO and the next thing that's coming that I don't think most people know about is AEO, which is AI engine optimization. Yep. So how do you get yourself into, you know, Claude or ChatGPT when somebody goes in, because most people use AI kind of like Google. They just go in and ask a question, right? So I think that's the next layer of things to build on to get your name out there.
Yeah, well, you've been on the ball with that great looking website. We've shown some of that, and you've got a new rendition coming out soon, an update to the website. But the important stuff, like fill out that form and get into the system so that you can get a direct call from the owner here, and Michael will help you to get the process started. The longer you wait, the further behind you put yourself. Not a good strategy if you're in a tough situation with a home, right? How long do you expect somebody should normally give themselves to sell a house or to go through your process to have you buy it out right from them?
Yeah, I would always tell everybody, you know, give yourself 30 days.
Okay.
It can be done faster. Not every situation necessarily dictates it being faster. Those guys that say, oh, we can close in 48 hours, like, no, you can't. You know, it's got to go through the title company. The title company takes, you know, 10 business days to get your title work back. Like, no reputable person's going to tell you they're going to close overnight without looking at the title. So, you know, I always tell everybody 30 days. If title comes back in 2 weeks, more than fine to move it up, you know, sooner than that.
There you have it. Give yourself the right timeline also with people, so it's important so you don't lose that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in equity because you didn't take the time to get it done right. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see that some of the other big companies make? And it's just behemoth, what they lethargic with regard to the size they are. They can't get the process done efficiently. What do you see some of the biggest mistakes that are made?
I would say the #1 mistake I say, and this is I would say specifically to people that are here in St. Louis that are actually going into the houses, not doing it all over the phone, is not taking the time to sit down and understand what the client's going through. They come in, they walk around the house 5 minutes, hey, I can pay this much money, whatever. But 9 out of 10 times, there are 7 other hurdles that you need to help them come over the top before they can do anything. So while money is important, and I've yet to run into the person that said, I don't care how much money you give me for my house, really taking the time to understand of like, well, I need to find somewhere to go. I need to have a pod to put my stuff in. I need to have an estate sale. I have 40 years of junk that I need to figure out how to get out of this house. And you don't take the time to understand any of that. To me, that's the biggest mistake that my competitors would make.
Yes, don't let that happen to you, everybody. And sharing some of the insight here. And before he's even had a chance to work with you, Mike knows what he's talking about. what's the biggest question most people have before they get started with you? When they are in a stressful situation, they start throwing questions at you. How soon can this get done? Or can you match the market price? What do people start asking you questions about?
Yeah, I mean, the number one is always, how much are you going to give me for my house, right? Which is, it makes me chuckle when I get asked that question right out of the gate. Oftentimes it's on the first phone call. So it's like, we haven't looked at your house. We don't know anything about it. You know, if you're talking to anybody that's willing to just throw you a number without knowing about the house or knowing about you, again, red flag, run for the hills. So, you know, that's always the number one, and that's just everybody's concern. You know, it's unfortunately in our industry, there's a stigma around, like, you know, grandma's equity stealer, lowball cash offers, all those types of things, and that's not necessarily true. There are those companies out there, but that's the fear that everybody has when they start this process, and so that's usually the first question that they come out with.
Yeah, well, that's an important question to get answered, and going through that situation can be, like we said, so very stressful. What is the what ultimately, when it boils down to this, what gives you the most satisfaction about what you get to do to help people?
Yeah, we've touched on it a couple times. I mean, it's just the fact of knowing that you positively impacted somebody's life, and usually the ripple effect it has to those around you. The lady I had mentioned that's in foreclosure that we're buying her house next week from, and actually able to put some cash in her pocket versus letting it get and take by the bank like the other company was going to do. She has 2 kids. What is their life? What is the difference in their life from if that house gets foreclosed on and they walk away with nothing, or this lady gets to walk away with some cash in her pocket with an opportunity to restart? Those outcomes for those children are going to be substantially different. So that's the stuff that gives me the juice, the squeeze, if you will.
Well, yeah, because that's a big impact on somebody saying, hey, I have nothing. I'm going to have to go live in a shelter or something like that. That could be a very distressing situation, but you get to go through that. If you would, give me a quick walkthrough. Give me the first steps. If somebody has the checklist that they should go down before they decide to sell a house, what kind of situation is somebody normally in? As a list of things. Oh, well, if you got this particular, if you're negative on your, what are some of the things people should start to consider selling their house first?
So, biggest thing is, what's the current condition of the home, right? Do you have the new granite countertops in it, or are you still rocking the Formica from the 70s with the blue tile, pink bathrooms and stuff like that? So those are things that I think often get lost in the translation, because we get like a scotoma to it, which is it looks normal to us. We don't think about it anymore. But we talked about earlier having it's not that it's bad, it's just styles change over time, and that's got to be accounted for in this. The more time you have on your hands, the earlier you can start in the process. That's going to be the most beneficial for you. If you're on a compressed timeline and everybody has to compress their timeline, there becomes more risk on everybody's part, which, when there's more risk involved, valuations go down, right? If I'm going to take a bigger risk, I'm going to pay less money for it, versus if you give me 30, 60 days and we can walk through this process together, we can always, pay a little bit more for the home. And then what are you going to do with your stuff that's in the house? People that live in their house for 20, 30, 40 years, they become pack rats.
There it is, everybody. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show.